Well, as you know, polls seem to be causing quite some ructions, and coverage of polls seems to be highly questionable. That Herald poll, by the way, what do you think of the TVNZ coverage? That is still up, apparently, and running like 83% said it was over the top, what TVNZ did. But there was another really interesting poll out this week and a really good commentary on it by our mate Bryce Edwards from the Democracy Project. Curia Research did a poll of mayors and the popularity rating or the positive-negative rating of mayors. And boy, there were some interesting results in there. Down the bottom of the heap, Tory Whanau, who's had to have back down on the reading deal and has got all sorts of perception issues, even though she thinks I'm Jesus Christ. And Wayne Brown, Super City Mayor, Mr. Fix-It, he better fix his poll ratings. He was, I think, with Tory, just so negatively perceived. And that's really telling. The two of the biggest cities in the country, our capital and our biggest single city, very unpopular mayors. But some people did really well. And we're going to talk later to Nick Smith, the mayor of Nelson. I think he had a 44% positive. Well, what is it all saying? Can we draw any conclusions about what it takes to be a good mayor? I thought we'd get Bryson to have a chat about it. How are you, mate?
Hi, Sean. Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm a bit happier than the rest of the country, which is very gloomy at the moment. I think very negative vibe going on about politics and, well, everything, the economy. And why not? I mean, we are in the strike at the moment, so, I think people are right.
Well, I don't know. Mikey Sherman tells me everything's amazingly down, but I don't know that I trust her. And the rest of the country doesn't, does it?
Well, yes, she had a very sensationalist sort of coverage of this latest poll result. I mean, it was very much like News Hub's poll, They tend to hype things up and, do it very colourfully. So she's sort of, I think, taking some of the News Hub vibe there. But, I mean...
And that's proved so successful for News Hub, hasn't it, Bryce? I mean, they're killing it.
But generally she was right about this being quite a big poll. On the surface, it was only a few...
Come on, Bryce, it's margin of error stuff.
No, because normally when you have, say, national... or normally when you have one party in the coalition going badly, say Labour's doing badly, the Greens go up. Whereas in this case, all three parties were down. And,
By what? By well within the margin of error, Bryce.
Yeah, but I think you and I know that...
Roy Morgan poll out yesterday shows they'd have 66 seats.
Oh, look, I don't think we should get too wound up about whether this poll means if there was an election today they couldn't govern.
But there isn't an election today, is there, Bryce?
Yeah, exactly. Look, it's the trends, and I do think the trends are saying that the government isn't resonating in its first 6 months, that it hasn't had the honeymoon, it hasn't connected.
Well, that's because the mainstream media hate it, because they didn't want it to get elected.
Quite possibly. But nonetheless, there's something interesting going on, and we've talked before about other polls where it just shows that people are very grumpy in this country. They were grumpy before the election, they're grumpy
I think they're grumpy at the mainstream media mainly, Bryce. I think that's who we should be polling.
Look, we've seen the trust in media also showing that people are very sceptical about all institutions.
Yeah.
And so, look, I think it's. I'm not complaining about this. I think it's a good thing to be a bit grumpy. And
But people aren't grumpy in Nelson, though, are they, Bryce? They love their mayor.
Look, this is my hometown, so it's a sunny place. It's and it's also a fairly kind of, I don't know if you call it a centrist place. It's it's neither particularly hard left, hard right, conservative or liberal. It's a bit in the middle. And Nick Smith is actually a fairly kind of centrist politician, and he kind of.
So his approval rating, 44% positive on this poll.
That's right. So, he's one of the most popular mayors in the country. And it doesn't surprise me. He knows how to govern for keeping in contact with the mood of the people, I think. He's not being a national kind of right-wing mayor. He's being a
he's cast aside his party politics, hasn't he?
I think so, yeah. That's pretty fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mind you, I can never figure out the party politics of Wayne Brown. And boy, he's what, -9 in Auckland, about the same as, or is Tory -12. But Wayne Brown,
That's right.
No one likes him.
Yeah, I mean, you have to remember with these polls, Sean, that this is asking people to say if they're happy with the performance of the mayor, and it's a net rating, so I don't actually have the figures here. There's still obviously a lot of people that approve of the likes of Wayne Brown and Tory Whanau, but there's just a lot more that disapprove.
Yeah.
And so, and if you did the same thing of, say, Trump at the moment, he would have a negative rating, or Biden, but it doesn't mean they're not going to win the election.
Yeah.
So,
and I'd say the same about the political polls that Mikey was, losing his sanity over in the last couple of days, and Jenna Lynch. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Bryce, the other thing we get whenever these stories come up, people say, I've never been polled. They are just polls of 1,000 or so people, aren't they? They're pretty small sample sizes.
Yeah, and we have to take that into account, of course, but the political science on this does say that 1,000 is a pretty good sample. I don't think we should grumble too much about that.
And they do have methodologies that make sure they get a representative 1,000, don't they?
They do. So, I mean, I'm not saying that you can... there shouldn't be questions about polling, and there should be some scepticism. But no, I think in New Zealand polling done quite well.
Yeah. Look, back to the mayoral poll, which I just found interesting, and in some ways it almost was the mood or the temperature of the country in general as well. You said that Tory Whanau had pursued almost a right-wing strategy. Yeah,
I'm trolling a bit here, I guess, when I say that.
I love that you admit it, Bryce. I love that you...
But I'm sort of genuine too. What I find interesting about Tory Whanau is she kind of positions herself as a very green, very left-wing, very liberal mayor. And, of course, she is on social issues. She is very radical, liberal on social. But when it comes to actual economics and a lot of what you might normally judge someone on the left-right spectrum on, she governs more to the right. Yeah. And so if you look at the key issues, they're not things that actually typically enthuse Wellington left-wingers, like selling off the Wellington airport, like corporate welfare for multinationals, like...
Do you really think that's got anything to do with the perceptions of her, or is it the whole Havana bar drinking problem thing? Let's not overanalyze this, Bryce.
No, I think it is. I think people aren't... I mean, those integrity issues are important, and we always judge our politicians on how they behave. Yeah. And so, but if she was doing some policy issues that were really succeeding and convincing the public, oh yes, I've solved the water problem, I've solved the financial crisis, I've got the council working together nicely.
Yeah. I've got the homeless offensive people off the streets, and she's done none of that. Yeah.
If she was succeeding in all those policy areas, I think people would say, oh, let her party a bit, let her have her own personality and make a few stuff-ups. But, I think that she has lost the left as well.